Commission. Today is Thursday, May 30th. It is now 11:02. I'd like to go around the room if everybody could please introduce themselves. Rod Walkie, Chairman.
Paul Carter, Commissioner.
Dave Riccio, Commissioner.
Joe Leonard, Deputy Athletic Commissioner.
You want to go?
Yeah, sure. Clinton Dick, legal counsel for the Athletic Commission.
Jen Braga, Program Coordinator.
Kyle Chadi.
Compliance Officer.
And if members of the public could also just state the name, please.
Christine Curtis.
Eric Grossman.
Michael Scott.
Terrell Clinton.
Thank you. All right, so the first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the last meeting, March 18th, 2019. Commissioners can get a chance to look at the minutes and any comments.
Motion to approve the minutes from March 18, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. So why don't we take a look at the Medical Advisory Board minutes from March 27th, 2019. And I don't know if any staff members have any comments or anything that you'd like to bring to our attention from these minutes.
Quick procedural question. So did the Medical Advisory Board look at their minutes at the next meeting?
They looked at these
Okay.
and they approved them.
Yeah.
And then you were directed to have the board to look at them and approve them.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine, just as long as they had a chance.
They are, yeah, these are
perfect.
approved.
Yep.
They're not draft.
Yeah.
So basically, they reviewed the regs, which is great, because we've been reviewing the regs in the subcommittee, all of it. And so this feedback is great. And I would imagine that we'll review these again in our subcommittee. So by approving these minutes, we're not approving anything that they've done. So it's not just kind of approving, so it's procedural. So
Motion to approve the Medical Advisory Board minutes from March 27, 2019.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, minutes approved for the Medical Advisory Board from March 27, 2019. Okay, agenda item number 4, score application. Kenneth Volovic. Ken?
So you
Go
will
ahead.
be present via telephone today. You've already met him.
Yeah.
So we allowed him to do this.
Great. I appreciate it.
He's also one of our licensed boxing judges, our timekeeper as well for boxing and MMA and kickboxing.
Great,
Okay.
thanks, Jim. Yeah.
Hello?
Yep. Hi, Ken, this is Rod Walkie, Chairman of the Massachusetts State Athletic Commission. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks for making the time available today. So we are reviewing your application for scorekeeper. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about why you'd like to be a scorekeeper here in Massachusetts.
Well, let's put it this way. Yeah, I'm heading towards my office, speaking by the way. As I have, Chad and I, I've been in country and a judge for over 20 years for the state of Massachusetts. And just to be involved, right now I'm not getting involved whatsoever because there is, we're saturated with judges and timekeepers. And, when I first started, it was very few and, we've been going 20 years.
Okay,
So just be involved.
no, great. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
No questions?
Okay, I think this one's pretty straightforward. Thanks for your time.
I'm sorry. That's all you wanted?
That's all we wanted. We're easy here.
That's all you wanted?
Do you want? Is there anything else you want to tell us?
No, I mean, there's really nothing that, I mean, I've been, involved in as I said, Massachusetts state boxing for, over 20 years, and, I don't know what else to say.
No, it's great, and we appreciate your interest in the sports. We need people like you, big time, and we appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you.
Yeah, so I think that's all we need from you.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right, take care.
You too. Bye.
Motion to approve the application for scorer of Kenneth Volovic.
Aye, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, next one, application from Mixed Martial Arts Matchmaker, Christine, you want to come on up to the table? Thank you. Take a seat. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
So Christine, why don't you just tell us a little bit about why you are applying to be a matchmaker here?
There is another promoter, or he's going to be applying to be a promoter that's going to be branching out in Mass, and I'm looking to help them. And I've been doing this for about 8 years, working within the business, and I've matched some fights helped match fights, I should say. The commission has been there to see them follow through, and I want to be more involved.
Okay. This is something we take really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Very important.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about what you know about matchmaking and if you've had any specific involvement, in your past.
Yes, so I've worked with on a promotional side all the way around, from doing the event itself, coordinate it, working with the fighters, their teams, and all the way. I mean, I know what styles make fights. I know safety is important. I've been doing this for a long time.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. So you, on your application, the events I have served as matchmaker, which include the names of the fighters that I've matched?
I've helped match those fights. I was not the actual matchmaker.
Okay.
I helped put those together, yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'm very involved all the way around within the promotion. I've done pretty much everything from start to finish.
All right. In the past, we've had some policies, some recommendations that we do some shadowing. I mean, do you guys have any commentary on this before we make a motion?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I just have a couple questions. Christine, thank
Yes.
you for your application. Do you have any experience in training in any of the sports, or have you?
I've been involved with it my whole entire life, mostly boxing and some mixed martial arts. It's within my family.
Okay.
So I've been around it pretty much my whole life. And I
You
know
may want to elaborate a little on that. So when you say you're around it, like, can you
my
help the
father, my
commission?
brother, so they've been in the gym. I grew up literally from a little kid all the way. My grandfather was a professional boxer.
And so how do you think that helps to inform this for you then?
Because I would train with them. I mean, I'm not
Okay.
professionally trained, but I would go in and I'd train with them.
Okay.
And defend, just from all the way around.
Mhm.
From mixed martial arts to boxing.
Mhm.
And why don't you tell us kind of, what you think the secret is to good matchmaking?
I think safety and styles make fights. So you want it to be safe with everyone, make sure everyone's have all their stuff in check. Because I also do medicals as well for another promotion. I work with another promotion now. So I think styles are very important to make sure that they're matched appropriately. I've worked very closely with Will and Guy and Jen throughout the years. And I think that they could probably vouch that I do a very good job for what I do.
Have you ever had any of your fights that you've matched that were, in the end, you said maybe that wasn't a good match?
I would say not, because I don't take those chances. If it's not ideal, for me, it won't happen. I'm a huge proponent for safety.
Jen, Guy, any thoughts, comments working with Christine?
We've all worked with Christine from she's done since probably 2016. She's always been the contact person And when we talk about the fighters or their needs, it would be Christina, we will talk. There were a couple times the fights fell out, and I was told the night of the fight that actually Christine helped to put these other fights together, which turned out, I think Melissa at that fight that turned out to be probably the better fights of the night. I know she's concerned about the fighters first. I witnessed that certain fighters wanted to get on the card, and she refused to let them for certain reasons. So I think her intent as far as safety for matches is there. She's involved in the promotion. To us, we want to know what's going on with the promotion. We don't get to see a lot of times what goes on behind the scenes, and with her transparency.
No more questions, thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, do you, thank
I'm
you,
sorry.
we're good.
All
No,
right.
we're good. I know with matchmakers, refs, we have some policies on shadowing. Do you recommend that in this case?
Well, you brought up
no.
you brought up an excellent point, Commissioner. We don't really have a shadowing for that position.
Yeah.
In Christine, we should probably prove it with the caveat that she, let's see the fight that she's working on next, and let's see what the matches that come up on her card. Actually, even before we approve them, and we can look at them really close on this side, maybe report back to you.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, kind of make the approval of the application contingent on quality of the next.
Well, may I?
Yeah, please.
So she will need to be licensed in order to turn in a card for a show.
Yeah.
So,
So maybe we make it a
Well-
requirement to see that card.
well, I think that when a card is submitted, the three of us, we look at the cards, the three of us aren't obviously licensed matchmakers, but we've been around the industry long enough to red flag things, and, and of course, we're in the interest of safety and competitive at the same time. She's been very receptive to, if there's something that's come across on a card that I had worked on with her, I would tell her, like, well, what do you think of this? And she's always been very cooperative and working back and forth, so, I mean, I think that she would have to be licensed in order to do so,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
perhaps, we take an even more closer look at we do anyway, but at the
Yeah.
fights, and, we work with the director hand in hand in that, and then, but she does have to be licensed in order to get to that
Yeah.
point, so I would just like to point that out.
Yeah.
I'm in agreement with the safety part.
Motion to approve the application for mixed martial arts matchmaker for Christine Curtis.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, Christine. Thanks for your interest. All right, we had a pretty short agenda today, but I'm guessing because there's some other members in the audience here. So I'd like to open it up to members of the public.
Yeah, can I just quickly go ahead and go over procedural? So
No,
what
no,
this,
please.
Yeah, so what this is meant to do is
Yeah.
really the discretion of the chair as
Yeah.
to items that you weren't able to bring to staff's attention
Mhm.
that came up in 48 hours.
Mhm.
It's certainly an opportunity, it can be at your discretion again, whether members of the public speak. But the public interest is better served when agenda items are listed,
Mm.
so that people can know ahead of time, outside of the members present, whether they want to attend, and also helps us when we look back to determine if a particular item was discussed or an application was discussed. So again, it's at your complete discretion who you recognize and how you proceed with these items.
Okay, and I do know that in the past, we typically refrain from, as a board, from responding when it's not on the agenda, because we haven't had a chance to review the issue or item. So maybe that's assuming that there will be some people who'll say, but that's generally in the past I would handle it. So, is there anyone in the public that would like to talk about anything?
Just a question.
Absolutely.
I'm just curious if there's, any directional update on the commission's, feeling on what better weight cutting protocols are. I think at this point, you guys have been reviewing a lot, I assume. Just curious. if
No,
there's
absolutely.
Any progress or
And-
update on that?
And I'm fine responding to that question. So we are in the process of reviewing all of the regulations, as you know. It doesn't make sense at all to just take one of the regulations and then try to change something at the state level, because that's a whole nother level of bureaucracy. So we've concluded that we're going to look at them all, because there are several things to do. And we have a subcommittee, and we have been meeting monthly, and we're almost through that process. And within that review, we have discussed the weight cutting. And so I guess there's reason for you to be happy that we're almost through it, and, these, we're going to tighten it up. So that's where we're at with that.
Is there anything we can do as a foundation to help speed up the process, to help aid in any way, shape, or form?
I wish there was, but there isn't. I think it's great that you've been supportive and you've been present, and just so you know, we're taking the matter extremely seriously, and we're reviewing it. So, what else, Jeff?
Through the chair, if I may,
Yeah, please.
if I may also respond, we recently had 2 medical advisory board meetings, and as part of the journey to, through the regulation process, the doctors have included a weight cut counseling section on the pre and post-fight medical forms. So now they're they're asking more questions, they're documenting more. And recently a fighter had trouble making weight, and it was reported on the stats. So now we're reporting nationally. For example, this fighter, we put on there, the national record keeper, that they cannot fight above and below a certain number. So the doctors are really getting more involved until we get to that point, just so you know.
Thanks.
Yeah, which I think is a way of saying that, regulations are one thing, but reality is another. And you should feel very comfortable how seriously, as a board, we're taking this. It's, as you know, a life or death situation in some cases. So and the medical advisory board is, takes this very seriously as well. So feel good about that. Please.
How you doing? I'm Michael Paul there with the Cage Titans. I'm coming because we actually have some exciting news in the next new era of Cage Titans. We're going to be expanding on into grappling tournaments, and what I'm here to propose today is we're also introducing a kickboxing division for Cage Titans. So I would like to put that in your ears. We applied for the date, which is going to be July 13th. We secured a venue. I'm going to need at least 2 variances that I will be applying for, or I want to make you aware of. First being right now, variance 2302, CMR 2302, it requires that kickboxing happens in a ring. So we would obviously like to be able to do that inside a cage. This is a practice that isn't uncommon in other states or other countries. 1SC currently does Muay Thai in a cage with MMA gloves on. And that's something also down the line we might discuss. But for today, I wanted to, at least so we can move forward with matching, request or ask about a variance that kickboxing or Southeast Asian kickboxing can be approved inside a cage as opposed to the ring, which says in 2302.
Okay, can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I think it'd be really helpful for us if you do that sooner rather than later, and that you apply for the variance.
Oh, is that just a simple email?
And with that variance, build your case for us.
Okay.
And it's not it's not a high hurdle. I know that it happens everywhere.
Yeah, it's happening in New Hampshire currently, Rhode Island, just in our bordering states. So that was my main variance that I wanted to discuss.
But as the chair said, our next meeting is
not until the end of June.
24th, so it's going to be 2 weeks out from your event then. Right? So I would say submit that sooner rather than later, so it's on all of our.
Gotcha.
And we can just become educated.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
And that was my main fear to bring it up today, because this was something that we've been hammering out with a venue. The reason behind it as well is because this is going to be a night of mixed combat for us. It's going to be a celebration, going into our 10th year. So we're going to have a grappling event during the day for women, kids, adult males that aren't fighters, and then we're going to segue into the night event where it'd be a night of kickboxing and MMA. So the reason why the variance for that is that we're going to be doing MMA and kickboxing the same night. So that's my biggest concern. And then a second variance, what I'll put in front of you guys, and just to make you aware, right now there's a minimum number of rounds that you have to have for kickboxing and MMA for 2 separate events. I would look to apply for a variance for that. So we might be doing 4 kickboxing fights and 4 MMA fights. So that's another variance that would be crucial to putting this event off. But besides that, those are the 2 main concerns. I would ask if I do put this in email form to you guys, if there's something that could be voted on anyway before the 23rd, or is this something that before the next meeting, just because I'm nervous about...
No, I hear you, but
Yeah.
we can't do that because of, I'll refer to council, but Massachusetts Public Vote.
Right, no, we would definitely, the regulations are clear, it must be in writing, and then it'll be looked at by the commission.
Okay.
And you don't want to make us come in here for a special meeting for that.
No.
But I know, honestly, this is common practice.
Yeah.
I've fought in a cage before, kickboxed in a cage before. It's common practice, so
Yeah.
I think that you just lay it out sooner rather than later, and I think you'll sail through it.
Okay, perfect. All right, just because like I said, I want to make sure I can stop the matching process and get that going, because, I will, just to put it in the backyard, these are the 2 main variances that I'll be putting in front of you, but also for there's no surprises. Possibly down the line, we will look into doing what 1FC is currently doing, which is Muay Thai with MMA gloves on. And I think that there's only one, right now it says in the rules and regulations that you can approve smaller gloves, so that will be a variance that will come down the line. It also states in the laws that you can approve smaller than 8-ounce gloves.
Where does it say that, Michael?
I have...
You can just give me the thing, I'll look it up, because I thought it said amateurs can 10 ounce and...
35A.
14.
Yeah, 35A, during a contest, contestants in amateur boxing or kickboxing matches or exhibitions shall wear gloves weighing at least 8 ounce in each unless otherwise authorized by the amateur boxing governing body. So that's
So
35.
that's in 147.
147, 34,
Okay.
35A. I also have 147, section 38. It says almost identical, the same exact thing. Professional boxing, kickboxing matches or exhibitions shall wear gloves weighing at least 8 ounces each unless otherwise authorized by the commission.
I'm gonna bring that up too, maybe a conflict in there, but he's right on that, as far as the MGO.
And then it also states it in your CMRs.
That's correct, in the CMR, I think it says you can use no less than 8 ounce, right?
CMR, it is
12.05.
12.5.
Specify in your email, Michael,
Yeah.
I read your email, specify what you want as far as amateurs and pros, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. It says weigh no less than 8 ounces or not more than 10 ounces.
Because you want to also not have shin guards.
Potentially, that's something that we're going to discuss. The basic variance that we need to get approved, or that I'm most concerned about and most pressing, is that we can do it in a cage, not a ring, in the number of rounds. But down the line, so there is no surprises, you're absolutely correct. We will possibly be asking for variances. Instead of doing boxing gloves, doing MMA gloves. Instead of shin guards, which currently it says contestants shall wear, we would ask that they wouldn't have to wear it. It would be the option. And in this event, we would give each fighter the option when we're matching a fight. If somebody is a first timer and they want to be more padded up and wear shin guards and the big boxing gloves, we would give them that option, and both opponents would have to agree to that. If they would like to do MMA gloves without the shin guards, that's something that we would match that fight accordingly.
It says on there for amateurs, if I can remember right, amateurs, the shin guards shall be worn.
In the CMR, it says shall be worn, but in the laws, it does not specify it. It says that in 147, section 38, it talks about that you'll wear standard protective devices as outlined by the regulation by the commission. So that would mean it would be something that a variance could apply
Shall
for.
wear shin guards.
Well,
That was
exactly.
a question about him putting it into, whether it's pros or amateurs, because I don't have a problem with this, because it's happening everywhere else. But for us here in Massachusetts, the law says for amateurs, it must be tennis balls, it must be shin guards, so that would be up to the board now. But if it says shall, they can't verify that, right?
Well, this CMR,
And headgear?
Huh?
It says
they don't wear headgear now.
I'm sorry.
shall wear shin guards and elbow pads.
So can you get a variance from
And the
that?
regulation. I'll take a look.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just a quick point to add to what Michael said, no boundaries, elbow pads are required for the fights, but because the amateurs don't elbow to the bodies, they've removed the elbow pads because they've slid so much. So there are,
Report, yeah. you're
yeah,
right.
so that's something that, I'm a coach as well, and that happened at one event. All of a sudden, we went to the event, they were like, yeah, you don't have to wear elbow pads. So, protection and safety for me is 100% number one. And what Michael's saying, I think would be great. But in Muay Thai, they actually have like classes A, B, and C. So depending on how many fights, so possibly no shin guards would only be allowable to fighters who have more experience. That way you wouldn't have a person that's a beginner going and getting hurt, and you could actually say, well, you have to have 4 fights. If you have 4 fights, and you can go without shin guards. That's something that I've seen done in other states and other Muay Thai competitions. I've probably been to most states and have cornered. And that's what most states do, is they have a tier system. And I think that's a good, safe way to do it as well.
Just
Thank
to
you.
stop right there, so I mean, would that be something that would be more of a policy, not a red, right? If we were to take that suggestion.
Yeah. Well, Paul, we got.
There's nothing in the law that backs up what the CMR states, so that I'm assuming that's something that you could vary or rewrite when you're rewriting the regulations.
Well, it does talk about, it's the CMRs do talk about elbow.
Yes, it says,
They do.
yeah, 2308, it says the promoter shall provide the shin pads and elbow pads, and it says amateurs have to wear shin
See,
guards
and
and elbows.
that's a very good point. They've been proven, first off, it's very poor style where they are, they never stay where they're supposed to, and they don't elbow anyway, so. But again, that would be to the attorney, can they put a variance against that, or just eliminate it altogether somehow?
And then the last point, again, I'm not, just because this conversation's come up, as a proponent for no shin guards, would be that currently, right now, in amateur MMA, there's no shin guards. They wear 7 to 8 ounce gloves. I know the argument might be made there's more striking in kickboxing, but there's plenty of amateur MMA fights that never go to the ground in the same level of striking, if not sometimes maybe higher level of striking. So it's currently being observed here in this state in amateur MMA without shin guards. So a kickboxing fight, there's a lot more into it, so I don't want to insult any of our Muay Thai guys. It's a fight without takedowns, in my opinion.
What I think we should get from Michael is exactly what he's looking to do in this event. And we can work it from that point, because then most of it, not most of it, but some of it, we'd have to refer to the general counsel to see what we can and can't do from that point. So for time wise, you should send this word to us right away. You can also talk to us, Michael, like,
Yeah.
we can help you kind of hone it to.
And absolutely, and today I didn't intend on coming here to delve into it because I know it wasn't an agenda item, but I wanted to at least bring to your attention and at least bring to the attention of my major concern, which is being able to do it in a cage, not a ring, because that can at least get me to move forward. And then as we develop this program over time, this isn't going to be a one and done type thing. We may, evolve from here. Maybe this first event's all regular big glove kickboxing and shin guards. Maybe the next event we see how people are receptive to it, and maybe the community doesn't want MMA glove kickboxing. Maybe they do. So we can evolve over time, but the major concern is a ring,
Got it.
and a cage.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it, and I'll get everything over to you. I have everything typed up. And just my last point that I can understand is that if it's in the CMRs, you can apply for a variance as long as there's not a general law. It's not stated in the general law. Is that correct?
That's-
I'm not sure I want to go on record as saying that, so if you could just submit these things ahead of time, I
All
can do
right.
my research ahead of time and not have to be on the spot and the commission says that to me on the spot.
Fair enough. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank
So not to get on too much of a tangent here, but I think at some point, we would want to put on the agenda to discuss this whole shin guard and elbow pad situation with Muay Thai. And
Then the subcommittee?
it doesn't sound like it would be, I mean, we sort of talk about it there, it doesn't sound like it would be a change in the regulations, but maybe we can talk about that then
Well,
there.
it would be a change in the regulations.
Well, I was thinking it would be more of a policy though, right? And,
Well, it's stated in the regulations.
Yeah.
So if we
Yeah, we're
change
gonna
that,
change-
we don't need
We're
to
gonna
talk about
create a policy,
policy.
we might as well review the.
But I wanna
Yeah.
talk with Clinton after this, because I think there's a contradiction within the CMR itself.
Yeah.
When they talk about kickboxing and Muay Thai and. okay.
yeah, okay. And I think with Muay Thai and kickboxing, I think it would be really helpful to get feedback from the community on some suggestions, like, sorry, I forget your
Eric.
name, but Eric, like Eric, in, so why don't we come up with a game plan for that, in the subcommittee? Sounds good. Anyone else have anything they want to talk about today? No? All right. So I think we need a motion to close the meeting.
Motion to close.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.